This video is sponsored by Greatness Lee Corso. Let's go! Thanks for the memories on Saturday game days as a kid and obviously even as an adult now. It's unbelievable. I'm gonna miss him so much. As he would say though, not so fast, my friend. We got a mock draft to go over today, but really, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird not seeing him out there on Saturdays. I wish him nothing but the best, though. And seeing that tribute with Kirk Herbstreit, oh, everybody, I'm not going to lie. If you don't cry during that, I don't think you're human. But either which way, we do have a mock draft. Let's make this thing spectacular. It's the first of the draft season. I'm ready to go. I do want to be straight with you guys. I have not evaluated. When I say evaluations, I mean, like, I like to watch each player like 6 to 7 plus games. That's really where I feel comfortable, if not more. I really think that watching 1, 2, 3 games is not really of enough an evaluation. And in most of these prospects I'm going to talk about today, that's really where I'm at. So I'm just kind of being straight with you guys. I have not seen 7 to 8 games of a lot of these players. I've watched a ton of college football last season, so I am very familiar with a lot of these guys. But at the same time, I do want to point that out, that it's going to be a little bit of, rough edges at the moment as we continue to get into this full deep process, and we're going to evaluate this thing together. We're going to be a lot of breakdowns. Definitely let me know players you guys want to see, and we will be doing some breakdowns of those. And look at PFF. I've not used PFF's new simulator, so you might have to bear with me right now. So it looks like they got a little two-part thing. This is my draft order too, so certainly you can make fun of me. I'm going to tweak this throughout the process. It's going to be a fun little thing where we just, go back and forth with teams, and then we'll go week by week and stuff like that. Let's get right into it though. And the New York Football Jets, my favorite team on the board at number 1 overall. I've not been super impressed so far with Justin Fields in preseason. It is preseason. This roster still has some holes. It still has some areas of need. You got a first-time head coach in Aaron Glenn. And they're going to be looking at, if they're picking at number 1 overall, and especially in this draft class, you're looking at the quarterback situation. Arch Manning, I know the game is going off right now. It's at halftime. It's a low-scoring game. It's 7-0. Arch Manning's looking a little shaky versus a great defense, and Caleb Downs making plays out there already. Real question you're wondering right now, and I think I go and answer that right now. Arch Manning, do I put him in this mock draft? My answer is going to be yes. And maybe it's a Jets fan coming out on me. We finally get a Manning over for the Jets now. And I guess you got the Giants. Arch Manning is going to be going to the New York Jets. Will he come out? I don't know. You can have the contradictions of what he said versus what Archie said and what the whole Manning situation is. I think there's a 50-50 chance at this point. I really would not be shocked, though, if Arch comes out in this draft. And the reasoning for that is because he might want to go a little bit different because of the Manning way. Maybe he says to himself, I want to make my own way. I want to be my own person. I'm not going to just go to college for 2 years because that's what Eli and, all the, Peyton, et cetera, what they did. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I'm not discounting him coming out in this draft. Do I think it's going to happen for certain? Obviously, nobody knows that at this point. I do think it's really 50-50, and it's going to depend on how he looks this season. Don't rule it out, and I'm certainly not, and I'm going to have him in here for this first mock draft, and I think we'll trade off with some drafts he'll coming on, some he won't. On to the New Orleans Saints here at number 2. If you're picking at number 2, you need a quarterback, and that is where I'm going to be going. I'm going to go get a freak athlete, and it's going to be LaNorris Sellers from South Carolina. This guy I have just done a scouting breakdown on. This dude has so much raw potential. He needs to get better with his accuracy, and I think his processing is going to be the big thing I'm watching out too for this season. Anticipation and processing, those two areas besides the accuracy. He sails a lot of passes, and he can be a little slow to get to the backside digs and stuff like that. So if he could prove on those things, because he is literally one of the toughest quarterbacks that I have seen to tackle in the pocket, consistently makes plays. And all too many times, there's free rushers coming in his face, and he's just getting away, spinning away, arm tackling. Forget about it, right? On to the Indianapolis Colts at number 3. And if you're picking number 3 for the Indianapolis Colts, are they looking at a quarterback? And the simple answer to that is yes. And that's where I'm going here. I'm going to take Drew Aller from Penn State, my next quarterback here. At the moment, I would have Drew Aller just a little above LaNorris Sellers. It's really a toss-up with a lot of these guys, and maybe it's a little bit of a fit, right? Penn State's closer to Indianapolis. South Carolina's closer to New Orleans. partially there, I guess, is some of the sort of things and trying to find fits, because that's important too, right? It is. There are players that want to be closer to home or whatever. So I try to factor some of those things into with this. At the same time, they're not, it's like you take the best available player and you don't think about sort of things like that too much. On to the G-Men here, number 4 overall. New York Giants, I think Jackson Dart, they're going to at least give him the opportunity. And even if Brian Dable, if they're picking a number 4, then more than likely they're going to be cleaning house. I don't think they're going to be so quick to give up on Jackson Dart unless they get an opportunity to draft that guy, right? If Arch Manning is there, then of course that's where they're going to go. But for right now, I think that it's going to be a lot easier to pencil in somebody else going to like a BPA option for this football team or a trade down or things like that. Now, there's a lot of good options on the board. I think Peter Woods, to me, stands out more than likely as the best available player on the board here. Spencer Fanu, though, would hit a critical need. And he's also a good player in general. I think it's going to be interesting whether or not he is considered a tackle or a guard. There will be people out there that see him as more of a guard, and I understand that for more of a wide zone team and stuff like that. But his arm length is going to be questionable. I do think it's going to be questionable. But his tape is fantastic. And he's got excellent balance. He really does. His balance is fantastic. His mirroring ability is really, really good. And I think he's very good in the run game, too, on pull blocks and out on the move. That's really what he specializes in. And they need a right tackle of the future. Jermaine Illuminor going into a contract year. They're going to have to figure some things out there. And plus, Fanu, they need tackle depth in general. Probably you got Marcus Bowe, and he could give them some good depth. That is the way that I'm going to go here, though, is finding a tackle in the draft. Even though I do like Peter Woods a lot, it's hard to find good tackles. I'm going to go ahead and select him. There are some left tackles in this class, so I do really, really like. On to the Cleveland Browns here. To make this pick pretty simple, it's arguably the best player in the draft. Here's the thing, though. How early does Caleb Downs go? I don't know if I see him going like top 3 or top 4 because safeties. Like, do you pay a safety that type of money? I do think he is a different talent, though. So there's that. And I'm going to go Caleb Downs here at number 5 overall. So he still makes it in the top 5. This is nothing against. He is one of the best players, if not the best player, pound for pound, prospect-wise in this draft class. He's just dominant. And for the Cleveland Browns, you got to think about it, too. Other than Grant Delpit, pretty much everybody's a free agent. I think McMillan is the only guy that's under contract, but he's a guy. Dylan McMillan is a guy that they're, seeing if he can develop and whatnot. Overall, though, you had a guy like that into their secondary. I could see him going corner, too, as a possibility. Like, that's another thing. Denzel Ward, besides that, you got Martin Emerson's a free agent. Newsom's a free agent. So those are some options to keep on table, but just to try to improve the secondary to me. On to the Tennessee Titans here. And with this one's pretty simple for the Titans. You either need another weapon, receiver, tight end for Cam Ward in the offense, or defense, right? Edge rusher specifically. Edge, wide receiver. Those are the 2 areas that I'd be really looking to hit. It's going to depend in terms of wide receiver how Alec Ayumanor comes along in his rookie season. Calvin Ridley is also getting a little bit older now too. So those are 2 areas. For me, though, I think you got to hit the edge rusher, especially since no edge rushers have gone off the board yet, which is kind of surprising. You had a quarterback run and stuff like that. With this pick, you look at some of the edge rushers too. Now, here's my thing on this edge rushing class so far and what I've seen. Once again, I've not done full scouting on this class just yet. I have watched a lot of these guys and stuff like that, but Keldrick Folk is the guy that I think has the most upside out of this group. I like Ruben Bain a lot. Dude is a baller, especially his freshman season came out and was just a bull. TJ Parker, I'm still coming along too. I want to see him put together a little bit more of a pass rush set, but he definitely has that speed to power. RJ Mason's got the speed. Oh, he's got the Nick Benito maybe type of traits. Cassius Howell, hey, I like him too. I think I'm glad they got him that high. I'm a huge LT Overton fan. You're going to see him go pretty high in this mock draft. I like him a lot. David Bailey, a lot of upside. Derek Moore made Caden Proctor look silly at times. Mateo Uyungale, Tyreek Sapp. So you got some dudes in this class. I think that it'll be very interesting. There's some raw potential for sure. Now, the guy I'm going to go with here, I'm going to go for the upside. I'm going to go with Keldrick Folk from Auburn. I just feel like the traits with him are really, really good. I don't know who he reminds me of. I mean, you're going to probably hear the Mikael Williams comp with him. Gregory Rousseau, maybe another name that comes to mind when I think of, I don't know, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of some guys he looks like and stuff like that and plays like. Because remember, Rousseau was also playing a lot on the inside at Miami. And that's the way they use Folk. They'll line him up at one tech. I've seen him there at Auburn. So We'll see how he does this season. He has a lot of potential. On to the New England Patriots here. And for the New England Patriots, I'm going to be straight to the point. Let's get another weapon. Their running back room looks pretty dang good. I love Travion Henderson. Man, that guy's going to be so much fun to watch this year. If you got that fantasy, ooh, man, I'm telling you. But Jordyn Tyson, a wide receiver. Yes, you're saying, well, you got Stephon Diggs. Do you like Kyle Williams? I like him a lot. I think Stephon Diggs may be a one season and done sort of thing. I really do. And plus the contract, they can get out of it super easy. And they only lose $8 million, I believe, is the cap number, something like that. It's not a really ridiculous number. And comparative to his like 25 plus $26 million hit next year, I'd rather just do that. He is just, at this point, I don't really feel confident in Stephon Diggs making it into next season. So you pair Jordyn Tyson with Kyle Williams and I was like Pop Douglas. That's a good tandem of three wide receivers that I feel confident in here. I could definitely still see them going offensive tackle or offensive line, and we'll see how Will Campbell comes along this season. Maybe they want to move him inside the guard. There's going to be a guy here that I think that they could really draft. There's a dude that I really like. There's a couple of tackles I really do like so far. On to the Las Vegas Raiders here. Easy pick. It's going to be arguably one of the best players in the draft. Peter Woods falls to number 8. Like safety, defensive tackles sometimes, unless you're like even Jalen Carter, who he fell to pick number 9 to the Eagles who traded up. It's tough because defensive tackles, safeties, running backs, they typically go later than what you think they would go. So you have to be like literally an elite player to go in the top 5 for some of those positions. I think that's nothing against Woods. That guy is fantastic. He is one of the best players in this draft class. That's a slam dunk pick for the Raiders. Yeah, I know it's another Clemson defensive tackle, right? But dude is an absolute monster. Man, when are the corners going to go off the board? There are some good corners in this class. Go grab one of those, right? And it's going to be right here, Jermod McCoy. The injury situation is really the only thing stopping me from, or at least some hesitation in this one. He's definitely one of my favorite players in this class. That guy is fantastic. Really the only game I watched of Tennessee that I'm like, oh, McCoy's having a little bit of trouble. Andrew Armstrong. He really played him, and it really raised my stock on Armstrong because I thought he played him really well. Overall, though, I thought McCoy had a great season, and the dude is an absolute monster. So, yeah, he transferred over from Oregon State in his freshman season over to Tennessee last year and put up an All-American season. He was fantastic. So, just comes down to that injury he had. Was an ACL or an Achilles in January. So that timetable is going to be a little tight. You maybe expect him to be back somewhere in November, depending. They said the timetable is looking good right now. So that's good. We got an update on that. But that is something you have to think about with this. The Rams. Let's go edge rusher here. TJ Parker. Meg isn't even saying, right? Funny, but we're not going to go that route. Quarterback's going to be talked about. I could see it, especially if Matthew Stafford in the back situation. The news gets worse, and as the season goes along, if he doesn't really play that well or play that much this year, then we can revisit this conversation. I'm not quite ready to do that yet, but once again, we'll have some play on that. I'm going to go offensive tackle here. I think it comes down to tackle or corner, and for me at the moment, there are more tackles on the board that I really want to take a chance on. I have not looked at Dunker from Iowa, so he probably will not be in this mock draft. I've looked at Lamu, Proctor, Maunoga, Blake Miller, Tiernan, Bowery's an interesting guy. But the guy that I'm going to go with here, let's find. Here he is, Drew Shelton, Penn State. He is left tackle. So maybe you could look at a guy. If you want to go with a true right tackle, I think Francis Maunoga is another dude wherever he is on the board. You could make the argument he's a guard at the next level. There's going to be very much like that guy's as strong as a bull. But I'm going to go with Drew Shelton. I think he could. It's hard to say whether he can play right tackle or not. I'm just going to go with the best tackle that I really have that I've watched. He is a little bit raw in certain departments with his hand technique. When he puts it together, though, he is one of the best tackles. I think his movement skills are fantastic. I think his punch is really good. He takes it to defensive linemen, which is a key. When you're an offensive lineman, you can't be hesitant, right? You got to be able to take it to them. Also, that pick was from Atlanta too, so just heads up on that. That was Atlanta's pick, not Los Angeles' pick. I really like Shelton. Yes, it's going to be some technical stuff he needs to improve upon, but going into year number 2 as the full-time starter for Olu Fashanu, I really like him. Carolina at number 11, taking one of the Best dogs in this class. Yes, pun intended out here. I'm a huge fan of CJ Allen from Georgia. This guy makes plays. I like Anthony Hill a lot too from Texas. Another dude that just he's got a nose for the football. But CJ Allen, I think he's just so well rounded. One of the better linebacker prospects really in a minute. Huge fan of him, and I think he's a first round pick. I know it's a little early, I guess, for a linebacker, number 11. He might be edge rusher, brings a more value to them, or a cornerback or something like that. But I'm not going to second guess this. I just think CJ Allen is such a good player there at Georgia, and I don't want to pass up really good, talented players. I do think he's worth a top 15 pick, especially right now where we're at in preseason. He is just one of the safer players that I've watched so far, and it's like, yeah, that dude's going to be fantastic in the NFL. On to the Dolphins here, and another thing too is their linebacking core. I mean, Rosenboom's a good, solid football player. Wallace, we don't know much of yet. And Rosenboom's a free agent after this season. Sure, they could bring him back on the cheap, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a little tough in that linebacking room. It's certainly one of the biggest weaknesses I feel like they have on that roster right now. On to the Dolphins now. It's number 12. Ends up, baby. Let's go. And with this pick, it's also pretty self-explanatory. Let's get corners. Let's get help here. I'm going to go with Avion Terrell from Clemson. AJ Harris, the guy I've not watched a ton of, so I don't know. We'll put him in here somewhere. I do know he's a good football player. I've seen some of him out there, but he's a guy that I'm going to need to study a little bit more of with him. So we'll keep an eye out on him. But any which way, I am going to be taking Avion Terrell there for the Dolphins. I just feel like he is really solid and somebody for the Dolphins. They need a cornerback pretty desperately. Seattle at number 13, I think for the Seattle Seahawks, would be looking at either right tackle because Abe Lucas is a free agent, the injury situation, and then corner because Tariq Woolen is also a free agent, and their cornerback depth other than Witherspoon's a little thin right now. So those are two. I'd love for them to get Xavier Scott. Oh my gosh, that dude's a beast. So maybe on day 2, you go get Xavier Scott out there, and then you pair up that Illinois secondary. That'd be pretty cool. Any which way, I'm going to go tackle here because I think there's a lot of really good tackles still on the board. So that's the way I'm going to go. It comes down to, once again, are you making the projection? You go with a true right tackle like a Francis Mauinoga, or do you go with a left tackle, convert him over there like Caleb Tiernan or Drew Bowery or Isaiah World? I'm going to go with one of the guys that I have watched. It's going to be Xavier Chaplin here from Auburn. I know he's ranked really low there, and he does play left tackle. He transferred to Auburn. But man, I really like him. He just is so much potential there. He's got to get stronger in the lower half. I think that's the big thing when you watch Xavier Chaplin. Not that he's like getting dominated by power, okay? And he's got some decent hand technique already. It's got to improve. He's continued to get better, but there's some stuff where he can pull a nice snatch trap and stuff and lock out defenders. You go take a look at that Clemson game there versus Virginia Tech. He held his own. I thought he did a good job. So Chaplin's a dude that's so impressive to me. There will be a little bit of wide variance with him, especially early on in mock drafts, because he is a little bit technically raw and whatnot, and maybe not a lot of true pass sets at Virginia Tech. We'll see more of that at Auburn, which, man, they've got a lot of fun players to watch out for this season. Denver at number 14, I think it's going to come down to possibly another wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. That's something I would really am going to be looking at. Linebacker is a sneaky one, and then defensive end. Maybe if Savion Jones can develop behind John Franklin Myers. Those are areas to really watch out for this team. But linebacker, D-end, and then wide receiver. Those would be my top guesses if I had to go right now. Kind of between all of these three positions, I would say either Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate. I like Eric Singleton a lot. They're looking for more speed, but I think they got a lot of speed already on there, so I'm not going to go that route because they got Mims and they got Franklin. I think in terms of defensive ends, you're looking at guys like Caleb Banks. I'm a huge fan of Caleb Banks. I know he's an older prospect, but that guy can play, man. He can get after it. And then we look at linebackers, Anthony Hill, Sonny Styles, one of my guys. I am a huge Sonny Styles fan. Where did I mock him originally last year? Like I had him like close to the first round or something like that. I'm really big fan of Sonny Styles. So you may be seeing me overdraft him, whatever. Like I don't care. I think he's an absolute dog. On to this pick, though, itself. Okay, we got to make a decision, right? I know, I'm trying to talk myself into things. I'm going to go ahead and take Mekhi Lemon. Their receiving core is not that bad. Cortland Sensory signed. They brought in Pat Bryant. We'll see how he looks this year. But do they have that route runner guy in there that's going to be that dude? That's why I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon. I think he fits exactly what they're missing in the offense. How about them Cowboys? I know. But in all jokes aside, we got to find some help for this team. And as I was saying in my video on Micah Parsons, I don't necessarily think it's a horrendous thing having to pay him $47 million. It's tough for the Cowboys are just at. And I think Jerry Jones has some PTSD, some flashbacks to these big contracts he's given out. This is where, though, the fall on TJ Parker, this is to me the range that I feel comfortable at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him from Clemson. They've got Donovan Ezeraku, you got Marshawn Kneeland. You just continue to add juice to this pass rush, and that's what I'm going to do here. TJ Parker from Clemson. Safety's another big need for them. So if for some reason they're picking up in the top 10 and Caleb Downs is within striking range, that would be excellent. That would be fantastic. Pittsburgh at number 16, it's quarterback. That's where we're going. I got to get a quarterback, man. And that's what we're going to hopefully find somebody here. In terms of who I like, oh, man, it gets tricky, right? You can make the argument for a lot of these guys. They don't even have the guy that I like Marcel Reed a lot. I do think he probably ends up coming back for another season. I'm going to lock in Fernando Mendoza. Hoosiers, baby. Let's go. I had to throw a little bias out there, obviously. I'm graduate, so I have to. But Fernando Mendoza is going to be the selection here. Give him like a Jared Goff. I think he has some Jared Goff to him for the Indiana Hoosiers who need a quarterback, and they get their replacement, and I do think he's going to be really, really good for them. And obviously, they got to find somebody for Aaron Rodgers' long haul. Chicago Bears, now at number 17 overall. The Bears, when I think of what their needs, running back clearly could be something that comes to mind. But not so fast, my friends. I had to pull that at least once on you. I mean, I've already pulled it twice, technically, but I'm going to go a different route, okay? I'm going to go with a linebacker, believe it or not. I know you're saying, what? Well, hear me out. I think there's a really, really good chance that Edmonds gets cut after this year. So don't be surprised if Tremaine Edmonds gets released, because they could save like $15 million. And I feel like they could find a dude that's a little bit more of what they're looking for here. A guy like Anthony Hill, or I'm going to go with my guy here, Sonny Styles. Anthony Hill's really good too, okay? I like both of these guys. I really do. It's neck and neck. But I'm going to go with Styles. If I had to give the nod, I'd go ahead and give it to Sonny at the moment. The name's great too. But that's where I'm going to go. Go ahead and get that beast up in the middle. They have to really look at that. And Edwards, he's still a good football player, and he's under contract. But once again, they could look at, I think Edwards and Styles, that combination is a really good one going into next season. On to the Arizona Cardinals here at number 18 overall. They've added a lot of youth to this roster. Go ahead and add some more, right? But this time, I want to focus on the offense, because I feel like that's something they need to. They've really focused on the defense, and for good reason. They need to. Now, let's try to. The two positions I would be looking at, and you're going to see me mock draft quite a bit for this team, at least early on in the season, is right tackle and then wide receiver. I think they're in a good position with Marvin Harrison, of course, Maserati, and then you got Wilson. So it's a solid 1-2 punch. Who's going to be that number 3 guy? And really what they're missing is like a dude with some speed. And Eric Singleton would be really, really fun. Zachariah Branch maybe on day 2. And in terms of tackle, Jonah Williams going to contract year, injuries. That to me makes the most sense. Let's just bookend tackle this thing. That's where you got Christian Jones. Maybe he can develop. I don't know. We'll have to play that by ear. I love Caleb Lamu. He is a left tackle. Could he move to right? I don't see why not. I do like his film a lot. I'm a huge Lamu fan. He should be going here very, very soon. You got Malinoga, who could be more of, if you're trying to go for more of a true right tackle, then you got that. You got Tiernan. Bowery's a fun player. You got Isaiah World now going over to Oregon. Let's go. I'm a Ducks fan. He's a dude with some traits. I'll tell you that right now. But I'm just going to, you got Caden Proctor's another guy. Maybe move him over to right tackle. It is really tough, okay? It is really tough. But I'm going to go ahead and take Caleb Lamu here from Utah, one of the best tackle cores, if not the best tackle core in college football this season. Lamu, hey, don't be shocked if he ends up, to me, I may like Lamu a little bit better even than Fanu. Both good guys, both really good tackles. You're nitpicking at this point, but I think Lamu might have a little more translatable tape when it comes to his traits, his length, and athleticism that I feel a little more confident translating. So there's that. We'll see how it goes. On to the Commanders here at number 19. Bit simple, stupid. That's the way I look at it here for the Commanders. Don't get me wrong. There are some areas that they could go, and it's going to come down to who they re-sign. They did bring back Scary Terry just recently, so that's good. I'm looking at edge rusher, though. Let's go get somebody off the edge. There's some good ones. LT Overton. I'm a huge LT Overton fan, and that's where we're going to go and get him from Alabama. He could easily have come out this past season. I think he would have been a top 25 pick. Comes back, I think he could cement himself as a top 10 pick. I really wouldn't be shocked about that. Huge fan of him. So go get him. You pair him up with Dorrance Armstrong off the edge. And then we go on to the Houston Texans here at number 20. This is also a straightforward pick for me. They need interior defensive line help. They need to get younger there. They need to get some more talent. So with Rankins being a free agent, let's go get Banks to replace him right there as that elite athletic pass rusher type. He is just going to get out. He is one of the toughest dudes to have to guard, I feel like, in all of college football. So yes, he's an older prospect. He's going to fit right in, be, another impact on that defensive line with the Hunter and Mr. Anderson. On to the Rams here, back on the clock. And I think since, remember their first pick. Oh yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting to not show you the board here. So I apologize. I'm still getting used to this PFF simulator and everything like that. So if you want to take a look at the prior picks and stuff like that, but we got Drew Shelton with their first pick. Let's get some defense now with this pick. Okay, that to me is an area we want to go after. And it's the secondary specifically that I want to hit. A dude, let's see if I can find the guy, Aberney, where is he? Oh, DJ McKinley's a good player too. I like him. He can play on the outside for sure. I like Keith Abney as well. I think he's a really good player. Will Lee is a good player, man. There's some guys I think have a lot of possibility. We want to go a little more size on the outside since I do think that's what they're lacking a little bit. So let's go and go DJ McKinley here from Colorado. Yeah, let's go and get some size on the perimeter. They need some more help in the secondary. On to the Bolts. Bolts action at number, 22? Already well over halfway through this in the Bolts. I really like the idea of going with a tight end like a Kenyon Sadiq or a Max Clare. One of those guys, really, really talented. I'm actually going to go a different route. I think the defensive line, if there was an edge rusher or a defensive tackle, like both of those areas are definitely needs for this team. Defensive tackle might be the biggest void right now. I'm going to go with like the better. I feel like Ruben Bain is the best player on the board at the moment for those two areas. I mean, Christian Miller's got a lot of talent there. Mateo Uyunglele. I mean, you got some dudes. Daryl Jackson's a big monster on day 2. Dante Coleon had a really good night the other day. I saw him getting after the quarterback. I'm going to go with Ruben Bain, though, from Miami. There's just a lot of upside. And even though they got Kyle Kennard in the draft, I still think you got Tuitu Pelotu. I want to add somebody else. Bud Dupree, I think, still under contract, but getting older now. He's more of a situational pass rusher anyway. Yeah, it's not going to stop me. I want to get another guy in there. Plus, Bain can play a little on the inside, too, right? I mean, he's a little bit of shorter arm guy, but any which way. Let's get a pass rusher, right? On to the Cleveland Browns. Remember, they have 2 first-round picks. This one is from the Jags. Remember, with their first pick, we got some defensive help. We got the great Caleb Downs, right? We can already call him the great Caleb Downs. Anyway, we're going to go into offensive line. I think that's tackle could be in play. However, Lucas is under contract, so he gives him the swing tack capability. DeJuan Jones, if he has injuries or whatever, same thing too. Because it's tough because Jack Conklin has been injured, but he might be turning the corner. At least that's the hope. So I'm going to go ahead and focus on the interior. There's a guy, Connor Lew from Auburn. Fantastic, right? Transferred in. Dude is athletic. He's strong. Another really good center prospect. And this is where it starts to make sense. You start thinking in the guys of the Tyler Linderbaum range, the 20s, the mid to late 20s of the first round. We're just getting a locked-in player now for the 5-year cheap contract. Very, very good center prospect. The dude has already good situational awareness. He's one of the youngest players in this class, too. I think he's still 19 years old, or he just turned 20, something like that. Super young player. Lock him in there for that center. Ethan Posey's a free agent. Batonio, free agent. And same thing, Wyatt Teller's a free agent. So, yeah, they maybe Taven Jenkins, they could re-sign him. That figures to be one of your guard spots. They still need to improve that interior. On to the Bengals now, where interior, Connor Lew would have been the pick here if I do like Matt Lee a lot, but they need to improve the interior as well. The offensive line in general still needs to be worked on. And I do like Fairchild a lot. Another area that this team could be looking at quite heavily is going to be at the defensive back position, the secondary position, which is why I'm going to go take Keith Abney here, the second from Arizona State. I mean, his coverage skills there are just fantastic. He was fully on display down the run there in the championship run that they had. Dude's an absolute monster. So, and he's got solid size to play on the outside. So I'm not really worried about that. They need another secondary piece in there. even if Daxton Hill emerges and stuff like that, or DJ Turner, those guys are under contract, but Daxton Hill could play in the slot for them. Like, they got a multitude of dudes that can play different spots. They just need to improve the secondary. Safety, Kamari Ramsey. Lassiter would be great, but Ramsey would be the other sort of situation I'd look at. Definitely a big need for them as well. On to the Detroit Lions at number 25. Wouldn't it be funny if I just went Jeremiah Love here? That would be crazy. Oh my gosh. No, we're not going to do that. As fun as that might be, I'm going to go and try to find another edge rusher to pair up there with Aiden Hutchinson, something they've been really needing to do for quite a minute, and have some more depth just in general is a problem. I am going to go with, let's see if I can find him. Here he is, Mr. Saka, as I like to call him, but Saka. Anto Saka from Northwestern. Going to bring another sack artist in there with Aiden Hutchinson. This guy is a twitched up monster and going to be a pressure package machine for the Detroit Lions. Got to get better in run defense, no doubt about it. Setting the edge specifically is not going to be something he's super strong at, pun intended. But that dude can get after the quarterback. Every time I watch Northwestern, it's like you think, oh, you go watch the offense there and Caleb Tiernan and stuff, who's a good player. But then you look on defense. They got some dogs, too, on that defense. And Saka is one of those guys. 49ers. We're at pick number 26 now. Enough is enough. We are taking offensive linemen. I'm not thinking about other positions, okay? We're running about...
Hold on. You have a choice. You can have the boat or the mystery box.
Oh, Jeremiah Love's there. Oh.
A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
No, we're taking an offensive tackle. Get it? Well, come on. Once again, you can make the argument for Proctor here, Maui Noga. You can make the argument for a lot of these dudes. Tiernan's a good football player. Maybe we go with Tiernan as a guy that has a ton of experience. I think he can be a day one starter for them. Let's just do that, okay? I really don't know what to do, but need an offensive lineman. That's all I'm going to say. It's just draft an offensive lineman here for the 49ers. Pick which one. I don't know which one yet. On to the Chiefs here at number 27 overall. Hey, it's kind of crazy. For the Kansas City Chiefs, this is where the Jeremiah Love conversation begins, and I'm just going to take him here. Even though I am higher on Jonah Coleman, I'll be honest, I am higher on Jonah Coleman. Jeremiah Love's a fantastic player. That's nothing against him. I think Coleman's fantastic. Love's a younger player by a couple of years too, so he's going to continue to get better, stronger, stuff like that. Just makes a lot of sense for this football team. Yeah, they got Brashad Smith, and he should be a nice receiving element for them, but Love is a complete running back. And with Pacheco being a free agent, I just think it makes sense. On to the Eagles here, number 28 overall. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to go with upside here and do what they do a lot of times. They draft and develop these guys for the future. And that's what I'm going to do here with Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon, who could be the long-term Dallas Goedert replacement for this football team. I love Dallas Goedert. I'm not trying to throw him out the door, but they typically seem to draft tight ends a couple of years in advance. And I think this Sadiq is just, he's got that all-world talent that you look at. So the upside there just makes a lot of sense, and where the value's at this point on the board. On to 2 now. We need to actually trade this pick because they don't quite have it yet. So let me do that. Okay, so we got that updated now. They're here at 29. First pick, we went TJ Parker. Just felt like it was best available. I still think edge is not, like, it may not be their top need. It just depends on how some of those young guys develop. I really am high on Donovan Ezeraku, and I do think Marshawn Leland be a really good football player. And they're going to have some money to sign some guys too. However, Parker at that point just made too much sense. With this pick, they need a safety. They really do. It has not been a Jerry Jones thing to draft a safety early, so you do have to think about that. But there is a guy that I'm a huge fan of. It's Kamari Ramsey, that guy from USC. It's just, I think he's one of the best safeties in this class. And I do think he's worth the first-round pick, so I'm taking him here at pick number 29. I think you're going to get a very, very good football player. Buffalo Bills at number 30 overall, where I'm going to go look on the offensive line now. I think they've really invested defensively in this past draft, so hopefully they should be in a good position. So that's why, they still have some voids, and I could see them going after maybe a safety or something like that. But where we're at right now, I'm going to look towards the offense line where I think more of the value is at. I am going to go take one of these big fellows. I think Maui Noah, who fits the bill here, I could see him sliding inside to guard, and he could play that left guard position. Osiris Torrance, he can figure it out who plays right guard, plays left guard. But Maui Noah is probably the strongest offensive lineman in this class. Like, I'm just trying to take a look at this class in general right now. I think he's definitely one of the strongest. You would think Proctor would have that, but no, Proctor actually gets pushed back quite a bit. But I'm going to go with Maui Noah here. for the Buffalo Bills, just continue to improve their offensive line. I think he really would be a fantastic addition for them with the way that they run their inside zone and stuff with that power that he has. Oh, man, it's fantastic. He's strong as a bull, like I mentioned. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 31, where they have a really good roster and whatnot. That's why I think that they're going to be a very, very good football team, barring major injuries and stuff. Two areas I would specifically be looking at for them. It's going to be, I mean, tight end could be if they don't bring back Kate Auden. However, I think edge rusher and also linebacker are the two areas that I'd be most looking at right now in this range. And there are some good edge rushers to take a look at here that would really help them out. Linebacker wise, too, there's some good linebackers. Anthony Hill's right on the board, staring at me. So it's a very tough call. But I am going to fill the linebacking void that I feel like they don't necessarily have a starter going into next season. So there's that. I'm going to go and lock in Anthony Hill. I think he's a fantastic football player. Final pick of the first mock draft for the Baltimore Ravens. What do we do, Ravens? But I'm going to look at a big monster there for that defensive line, because the thing is, their defensive interior, they didn't really address that a whole ton this offseason. They got better off the edge, I'll say that. However, the interior, if they start having some injuries, except if Madubuike gets injured, then they're really in trouble. But it's like you got Washington, you got Travis Jones, of course. So, like, they're fine with their starters. They're in a good position. But their rotation is a little thin. You got Aeneas Peebles. Maybe he comes along as a good situational pass rusher right now. But I really do think that is an area that this team could use some help at. Dominique Orange, good player there at Iowa State. Christian Miller, a lot of potential now that he gets more snaps, right? He'll be more of a starter for them at Georgia this year. Darrell Jackson, another big monster. I would love Dante Coleone as well, the Godfather. Oh, man, that guy, he is so, so good. Oh, man, the medicals check out. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes a lot higher. I'm going to go with Christian Miller, though, from Georgia. Maybe, they always pump out good players, and he's a guy that played the run really, really well. Georgia, they play the run really, really well, and they're good athletes. Miller's a very good athlete. But here it is. Here's our order and everything that went down. As I mentioned at the beginning, this was our draft order. You had 3 quarterbacks go right at the beginning. You had Arch, LaNorris, and Aller. And then you got a lot of tackles go in this draft. And plenty of edge rushers and defensive linemen. But I say offensive linemen really dominated this first round. Not many wide receivers. We only had 2 wide receivers go. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh, that's probably unrealistic. Anyway, not a whole ton of corners go. It was like 3 corners go in this first round, or 4. I think 4 went in this first round. So there's going to be all over the place. It really will be. Caden Proctor, I'm surprised I didn't put him in the first round. Just the film is a little bit not quite there yet. He's got a lot of talent. The dude does. But right now, it just kind of is what it is. Linebackers still look really good in this class. I will say this linebacking class looks really, really good. So there's some talent there if you need a linebacker. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree, as we're ramping up this draft season. As I mentioned before, I mean, a little bit of time as I continue to get through these prospects, and we'll be getting through those together and as we do some breakdowns and stuff like that. But I'm really excited. So glad football is back. I hope you guys have a really good day, though. My name is G Sling. I'm doing my thing, and I hope you do too. And I'll talk to you soon.